Hey everybody, it's Denny going live with my YouTube channel, Why Is This True? And another beautiful day in Northern California. Oops, sorry. And so I got some notes. I missed last Sunday. There's just too much stuff going on last Sunday. I've been trying to get book in a bunch of interviews because I'm going to be taking kind of like the latter half of August off. I got a few more next week, and then I'm going to be going up to McLeod, which is near Mount Shasta, for Eric Rains and Sierra Loveless retreat. And that retreat is called the Golden Immersion. I wrote it down here in my notes. I always forget it. I just call it the retreat. Oh, Golden Frequency Immersion Retreat. That's going to be the last week of August. So, and the members updates page, I'll put the links there if you want to check it out. I'm not sure if they have any openings left. I think he's got 30 people for that. And so it's a 7-day retreat, and I'm really looking forward to it. I get to participate. Really excited. So I get to get 7 days of their teaching, training, and hanging out and meeting some new people. It should be fun. Hey, from the Caribbean. Yay, cool. Thank you. He says, I love your videos. Thank you so much. So, I'm going to try to pack 2 weeks of stuff into this little note thing here and a short live stream. And, you know, we all been waiting for August because we got the eclipse coming up and the events up in Shasta, the Corey Good and those folks are going to have an event up there, Eclipse of Disclosure, which is going to be right around the eclipse itself, Monday, August 21st. I won't be up there for that, but I'll be up there for the 2 weeks later, or a week later, whatever it is, for Eric Rains' retreat. And got a place to stay up there, and it should be fun. So August is gonna set the stage for the next 6 months, and that message really came home to me after I did my interview with Koji, with the whole astrology around this eclipse, and it was very fascinating. I learned a bunch of stuff that I had no idea about, and how you know, big things are going to be happening in Washington, D.C., you know, the United States, the federal government. I think, you know, big things could be happening there, and especially for the Vatican and in the astrology there for those two places compared to the eclipse itself. It's pretty amazing. There's some, if you look at the United States has like a natal chart, the Vatican has like a natal chart, and you compare that to the chart of the eclipse itself, and you get these planetary relationships that are quite intense. And you know, we can go back and look at I'm going to summarize a few things. So if you go back, last time something like this happened, an eclipse that was completely contained within the continental United States, was in 1257. The next nearest similar eclipse was in 99 years ago in 1918. And there's a category of eclipses that this one falls into. And there's a corollary of, there was an eclipse in 1945, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and also 1963, the assassination of President Kennedy. So this eclipse, usually with eclipses like this, the events will play out over the following 6 months. So in this instance, you know, what I'm kind of thinking that we're gonna see huge false flag, or an actual human tragedy on a very large scale that will either involve Washington, you know, the United States, and or the Vatican. So false flag or outright tragedy on a very large scale. And this is kind of like the last gasp of the cabal. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like they're getting quite desperate. And so I think, you know, something pretty major is likely to happen along those lines of them trying to get the public away from the whole disclosure, you know, outing of the powers that be, bringing them to justice, whatever. They're going to try something pretty dramatic to prevent that from happening, and get the sheep back in line, get the sheeple back, you know, back on the reservation. they're kind of losing their grip. So that's kind of the way I'm seeing that. We'll see. I could be totally wrong. And then the rest of it, I think, for starting in August, for the rest of us is just a lot of hard realizations. And I don't think anybody's going to be exempt from that. I think no matter what your belief systems are, whether you're in this kind of relatively small group of people that are looking into the alien agenda issue, the ascension issue, the people that are following Stephen Greer and Corey Good and the Gaia shows, or whether you're looking at the stuff that Carl and I are doing, which is notably different in some instances. I think we're all going to be facing kind of a big wake-up call. And I don't think anybody is exempt from that, myself included. I don't think anybody, claiming that they got a handle on this whole scenario is probably someone you don't want to be listening to right now. Anyway, so anyway, I got to get back on my notes here, otherwise it's going to take forever. Yeah, so I am finding that a lot of people are gripping tightly to their current and old BS belief systems, but I'm also very encouraged by the few people, some of them close to me, that are open to and getting their minds changed from the messages that are coming out through the channeling series that I'm doing with Carl. And alternatively, there's some people I care about, some people that are kind of doing similar things to what I'm doing, and they have been exposed to the information that's coming from the channeling series, and it seems to be kind of like, they're not really getting it. And I think that's just par for the course. It took a long time to get to where we're at, where humanity's we're at right now. It didn't happen overnight. It took thousands of years to get where we're at. So the expectation that we're going to drop a lot of these old beliefs, or even the newer beliefs that we've had that have kind of paint a more hopeful scenario for humankind, those things aren't just going to be jettisoned because some guy from Northern California and a channeler get on YouTube for a few months. There may be a lot of compelling evidence that tells us that what is being said here is true, but it's not something that's going to necessarily change any minds. So I have to keep reminding myself that I'm impatient. I want things to change rapidly, and it's probably not going to change rapidly. So, but anyway, along the same lines, it's very interesting for me because I'm starting to do these interviews with some of these lesser known SSP MyLab experiencers, and a lot of the testimony that they're coming forth is in kind of an alignment with the channeling series, and I find that very encouraging and very interesting, and it's really captured my attention, and I would like to pursue this further. And most notably, Kevin Trimmel, KJ Scoops, and Will Glover, and these are people I've done recent interviews with. Very recently, KJ Scoops and Will Glover, getting really good feedback on those interviews, and very interesting testimonies from these people. And I also get comments in response to some of the revelations coming from the Carl Mollison channeling series about illusion and duality, and how those concepts are somehow above and beyond the apparent fact that alien-human interaction is mostly used to foster an agenda that is not good for humanity. And pointing an example for me recently was when a discussion went in that direction. I cited the case where a young mother is missing her 2-year-old. And what is she going to do with the idea that this experience for us here on Earth is just an illusion, an expression of duality that we need to embrace or overcome in some fashion? For me personally, I find the idea hollow and pointless in the face of such situations. And Carl has made a similar analogy. If you come up onto somebody in the street and they're hemorrhaging and they're bleeding out, and you're going to give them a lecture about reincarnation and duality and how this is all an illusion, and that somehow I'm having difficulty kind of like resolving those two approaches. And I guess what's happening to me here lately is I'm kind of reverting back to not reverting back. I guess my mind is being changed into more of the kind of the hard-bitten realities, like that this is real here. There is a strong case for it being an illusion. There's a good argument for that, but the fact is there's problems here on Earth that can be solved by humans. So let's get on with it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That could change. That could be proven wrong. I'm giving credit here again to Corey Good, who says keep your reality bubble permeable. So I think that's really good advice. So yeah, so we have these bodies in these hard situations for a higher purpose, in my view. And let's see. Oh, so yeah. So I mentioned earlier that I'm not planning on going to the Eclipse of Disclosure, although I do have a friend who flies an airplane, and sometimes to keep his certifications current, he likes to go on trips every once in a while. So I'm gonna bend his ear a little bit about maybe flying up there Saturday or Sunday or Monday just for the day, and which would be a lot of fun, and then come back the same day. I just can't be away from home that long, so I decided to support Eric and Sierra for their retreat, and they've graciously invited me to participate, so I'm going to be doing that. Really looking forward to that. And also, you know, Carl is traveling and he's getting caught up with his clients. He's just barely keeping up with his client load, and he's got some writing projects, and we've got some other projects in the works that we're working on with another fellow. And so we're not planning on scheduling any more interviews until like the middle of September. But at that time, we're going to start a new chapter. We've kind of, Carl and I have kind of closed things off with this latest interview with Dr. Carla Turner, which I thought was fantastic. I'm so glad we ended with her. We didn't really end with her, but I'm going to kind of shift gears. And in September, we're going to go to some of these bigger names that have been suggested. We're going to kind of open up into an arena that is probably a lot more inclusive, with more widely known names, more widely known subjects. We're going to try to break out of the mold a little bit more of just these people that were exclusively looking at the whole alien agenda thing, or the whole secret involvement of aliens with the U.S. government, like, you know, the Phil Schneiders, the Bill Coopers, you know, Andrew J. Goodpaster, James Forrest, all those types of people. We're gonna migrate away from that and go to the more bigger names, and go and delve into that for a while. And there's actually the list that Carl and I have is huge. So we have to be a little judicious, because we just can't do every interesting person that's on there. And also a shout out to Tim, who's asked me to check with Carl about Jim Mars. So we're going to check on Jim Mars to see if that's okay there, as far as his successfully transitioning to the light. So it's all good stuff that we can do this. I just have to be careful with Carl's time, because Carl is dealing with some pretty intense situations for people that are really being, for lack of a better word, being tortured, and they need help. They need his help. So I try not to bug him too much with different requests that we get. Although all of them are important. Okay, so the middle of September, that's what we've got to look forward to. And then this evening I'm doing an interview with Doug Brown, who created the idea of Touch the Water. And if you go to my Facebook page, or you go back to whyisthistrue.com, I just posted the interview that we did before with Doug, who came up with this brilliant idea of 820, so H2O. They did it last year, and actually they got thousands of people to participate in this. It's a great, simple idea. I kind of love the idea because it's kind of a forever idea. You know, it's not like a planetary event like the eclipse. You know, we got the eclipse coming on the 21st, but this whole touch the water idea is something you can be doing every year. It can be done every day, actually, and it's such a poignant, brilliant idea that he's come up with, and so simple and so positive. And I just really like it. I'm a water person anyway, but it's like not only reconnecting with water, which is common to almost every living thing, but also the earth herself. So I'm really supportive of Doug's idea and this whole idea of a touch the water. So we're going to do a follow-up interview this evening. And then tomorrow I'm going to be doing an interview with the wonderful fellow Hakan, who translated the Tony Rodriguez videos that I did, the 4-part series, from English into Turkish. So he's just finished part 4. So now the whole interview is translated into Turkish, and I'm starting to get some Turkish subscribers to the YouTube channel. It's very exciting. But anyway, so Hakan arranged this interview for me to do with Justin Deschamps from Stillness in the Storm, and Sabrina and Sterling, who I think all 3 of them are going to be attending the event up in Mount Shasta, Corey Good's event. So anyway, that should be interesting. This was put together by Hakan, so I'm kind of going to follow his lead for discussion topics and that kind of thing. I don't know that Justin or Sabrina or Sterling have followed very much of the stuff that I've been doing on the YouTube channel, so it should be interesting. You know, I'm basically going to follow Hakan's lead. I think they want to talk about the combined meditation that's going to be coming up as a result of a recent interview between Cobra and Corey Good. So I'm still very much interested in the meditation aspect of all this. I think, you know, it's already been proven that mass meditations have a huge effect on human consciousness and also real events. So the mass meditation thing is a great idea, and I think August 21st, the meditation that they're talking about, 11/11, is a fantastic idea. So I'm very supportive of that. Okay, and then later the same day, Monday, I'm going to be doing an interview, a joint interview with Tony and Penny, Tony Rodriguez and Penny Bradley, and they are both moderators of the closed group Secret Space program on Facebook, and they've both been very instrumental in helping a lot of people, experiencers who have not gone public, kind of help put together timelines, get issues resolved, and so both Tony and Penny are dear to my heart. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's the first time we've really done a group interview like that. They've done some of that stuff with James Rink before on supersoldier.com, and it's been very interesting to get the group like that talking together. And we're going to have some more of those coming up later, probably in September sometime. So that'll be Monday. I'm actually doing 2. The one with Hakan, Justin, and Sabrina and Sterling, and then later in the evening tomorrow with Tony and Penny. And believe it or not, I'm actually winding down. I'm doing less interviews over the next few days in preparation to leave towards the end of the month. I think I'm going to leave on the 26th to go up to Mount Shasta. It's about a 5-hour drive from here. It's not too far. 4-hour drive. And then on August 22nd, I'll still be down here. I'm going to do an in-person interview with Grant Cameron. And Grant's website is presidentialufo.com. And Grant is a researcher who's been around for quite a long time. He's got a lot of inside contacts. He's been the recipient of a lot of information that has not gone public. He did a very interesting interview after a Toronto UFO conference in his hotel room, where I think they got 40 minutes of video and put 20 minutes of it on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and he broke the news on some really interesting stories. One of which was a Spielberg television, maybe movie project. I think it's television, 100 series, 5 years long, huge funding, products, the whole 9 yards. I think it's going to be about human and aliens, and with Spielberg being involved. So he talked about that. I posted it on my Facebook page. For those of you on Facebook, you can scroll down through my page there, and you could find that interview. Oh, there's Hakan. Oh, Denny, they will be separate interviews, not together with Justin and Sabrina and Sterling. Well, you got to tell me that. So anyway, I guess that's up in the air for right now. Hakan's letting me know facts after the fact. We'll work it out. Something's happening tomorrow with Hakan, I can tell you that. Okay. So, what else is going on here? Yeah, so I want to read just a short thing about Grant. Grant is an interesting separate interviews. Yeah, well, Hakan, we'll have to talk about it later. I don't really know what you're getting at there. So in the pages of, okay, this is from Grant Cameron. In the pages of this website, you will hopefully be led on a journey that will show you the entire known history of how the most powerful man in the world has dealt with the most highly classified secret of the last century. In short, This is the story of how the President and the White House have dealt with the mystery of UFOs. Very interesting. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. To be frank, I didn't think I was going to be able to do an interview with this fellow, and I'm so happy that he agreed to do this with me. He's coming down to do a presentation on the 23rd at the IANS Earthrise Center. That's the Institute of Noetic Sciences in Petaluma, California, and it's called the Earthrise Center. It's a really beautiful location in the south part of Sebastopol. So, no, excuse me, Petaluma. Okay, and what else? Okay, I'm winding down here. As of today, the YouTube channel has 2,200 subscribers. I want to thank everybody for subscribing. It really helps me out a lot to have these numbers going up the way they've been going up. I think we've been doing about 100 a week now, which is really good. It means good things for me, for the possibility of me being able to do this as I've been doing it, continuing on without having to stop or doing something different. So I'm very encouraged by the new subscribers, and I really want to thank you for subscribing. And I also want to thank recent donors and supporters, which has also picked up markedly in the past 2 weeks, and it really helped. The timing is great. The financial situation has really not improved too much here for me, so this whole thing of being able to do this full time like I've been doing is kind of on shaky ground. But lately there's been some donors that have come through, and I'm very humbled and impressed and kind of shocked. But I want to thank Jennifer Trimmel, Coral, Lemuel, Jesse, Gifford, Heidi, Joanne, Steve, Marion, and Ross. And so all of these people made donations within the past week or two to my GoFundMe page, and I really do appreciate it. It's a big deal. It's really helping out a lot. This makes me believe that I can continue to do this work. I do feel a sense of urgency. I don't think this is something that we can just kind of lollygag around on. There's work to be done, and I'm very happy to be part of that, especially for anybody who, who thinks that that I am making a real contribution here. And so this is a huge encouragement for me, and I really appreciate these donations. They're making a big difference. So I think that's about it. And I want to thank everybody for the patience. I'm sorry I didn't get back on here on Sunday to talk about stuff. So the interviews are going to kind of trail off for a little bit, and then when I get back on September 5th, we'll pick up again, and the series with Carl will continue. We're just kind of changing gears, opening up a new chapter, and then I'm going to continue with some of these interviews that we've been doing with people like Kevin Trimmel, KJ Scoops. I'd like to do another follow-up with Sean Bond. We haven't talked about it yet. And Will Glover, and Tony, and Penny, and maybe Elena later on. And so thank you so much. Have a great Sunday, and I'll be back again. Bye-bye.